Hello, this is Michelle Davis, and I am excited to continue our new series this year, Global Conversations. There are many organizations around the world that are serving FOP communities in local countries and regions. And so we're excited to have this opportunity during our Global FOP Awareness Day celebrations to really spend some time introducing you to these organizations and learning more about the families living in their countries or their region, and then also getting to hear about the work that they're doing. So I'm super excited today to have with me Lara Theoret, who is here representing the Canadian FOP Network, and then also Massimo Alfieri, who is here representing FOP Italia. So hello to you both.
Hi.
So Lara, maybe do you want to start and tell us a little bit about you and your connection to FOP?
My youngest son, Jackson, was diagnosed in 2009. So he's 16 now, so that's my connection.
Okay, very good. And Massimo, for you?
For me, yes, my youngest daughter, Isabella, was diagnosed in 2009. Now she's 27. That's why I'm in FOP Italia and I started taking care of this so important subject.
And Isabella, she is done with the university, is that correct?
Yes. Actually, she finished and she graduated in law. Could be a lawyer and looking for a job in the area of my town, which is Parma in Italy. So we are very anxious and excited because a new phase will begin after the university, and we are really happy and anxious, eager to see what she will do in the working world, which is important.
Yes, we definitely have several people that have FOP that are in law school or have completed their legal licensing. So that's fun. And Lara, remind me, what year is Jackson in school? He's 16.
Yeah, so he's in grade 10 in high school here. So he's got 2 more years of high school before we have to tackle the next step.
Is an amazing photographer. So tell us about his passion. I wouldn't say little passion, like it's a big deal.
Yeah, he loves photography, and he has sort of an interesting perspective, I find sometimes. He sees little details that other people might have just skipped over, and he makes an interesting photo of it. He also does a little bird photography as well, because his brother and I are big birders. So
yes. Well, Dr. Chris Scott, who has relocated from South Africa to Canada, is also into bird photography. So if you all haven't discussed that yet, you've got to talk about that. So
I sent him a few location tips.
Okay, good. I love it. I love that even though we have FOP, we have all of these other things in common that are really special. So Lara, well, you're kind of have the mic for the moment. So tell us a little bit about the Canadian FOP Network and how you all got started and how many families you work with.
Yeah. So it actually started just the year before Jackson was diagnosed in 2008. Carrie Connell, who's the mother of Brooke Connell, is the one who started the organization, and she ran it for a very long time. She did an amazing amount of work for us. We're very grateful. And right now, today, we're connected with 20 families. But we feel there's probably some more out there we need to reach out and find.
Yeah, given the prevalence of FOP, so several studies have shown that the prevalence is more close to 1 in a million. And so I think we were talking, the population of Canada is around 40 million people. So there's probably 20 families out there that have either not been diagnosed or maybe they're just not connected to an organization, which is the problem, the issue that we're really trying to solve collectively in our daily work, but also especially during FOP Awareness Month for sure. So yeah. And Massimo, tell us about FOP Italia and how you and Enrico got it started and about the number of families in Italy.
Yeah, as I told you before, the association was founded in 2006 That was right the year in which the gene discovery from the UPenn team was done. Very important for us, for the research, for everything.
Yes.
And the founder was our actual president, Enrico Cristoforetti, with the second family from Genova. So very few. They decided to, after a suggestion from the hospital, Gaslini, which is our main referent hospital specific and knowing very well the disease. Then the association increased in number with many additional families. We came in 2010, myself and others, and now we can count in Italy 38 patients with FOP. They all did the genic test in Genova, in Gaslini Hospital, and we are in touch with them. We are in touch with them, but more frequently with around 20 families. The others we know, in touch by phone, and so the association increased in terms of members. Yeah, that's the situation.
Yeah. Okay. And so the population of Italy, I was looking, is about 59 million, it says. So we're probably talking about, you've connected with about 2/3 of the population in Italy as well, which is amazing. Now, you mentioned research. So I know that FOP Italia, you all have been big supporters of research in Italy and around the world, and other to UPenn, and then through some of the IFOPA programs at UMass and our Act for FOP grant program. So really, tell us a little bit about your research funding work, because it's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a mixture of tools, of different strategies, and practically the main funds we get from local activities planned by families that in many different ways, organizing concert, dinners, theater, or any possible event that can collect people in person. And in this purpose, we are quite active, because we are also not so many, and not so many families so active in Italy. So this activity is very important. Then we can collect from industry, from a few banks or some other subjects from the industry. And also we get money through a quite complicated system that is probably, I think it exists only in Italy. I mean, from the fiscal declaration, any person in Italy can decide to give a very small percent of their income to a no-profit association. In this case, we were quite, I think we are proud, because we get a big amount of money from this fiscal declaration, which means that when we speak with the person, when they know, they can decide to put our FOP Italia association.
Yes.
So it's another important source of funding for us. So we can, we are not the size of IFOPA, but still we can decide to use this money in Italy, as you know, in the main academic institution, but also abroad through the IFOPA grant, for instance. This is very important, because you have a pool of experts and you can decide in a competent way. As you said, we gave to UPenn, to UMass more recently, in order to sponsor and to promote the genic research. And we move in Italy, because we are Italian, in the main university, but also trying to be active in the US principally. In Europe also, we did something in Spain, in the Netherlands. So it's I think our contribution is quite important, and also it's a way to make the population aware of this rare disease, which is another important subject that we probably will mention later. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you have a scientific committee that helps you make those decisions about where you invest your research dollars?
Yes. Is managed and guided by an historic professor, Roberto Ravazzolo, who worked for many years in the laboratory of genetic in Gaslini Hospital, and now after the retirement, is again with us, taking
that's
care and
great.
updating us. But for the very last grant that we decided to use and use only for a European university, he called also other European experts from Germany, from the Netherlands, in order to prepare a small committee, not to be alone,
Yes,
but having
right.
important skills and a person that we know that know FOP very well. So
That's great.
that's why is moving. We are happy because the contribution is, and that's why we say we have a scientific committee, but practically is managed by this professor with cooperation of other hospital physician. And yes.
No, that's great. And I had forgotten that you all had done some research funding in Spain, and then also as part of the Stop FOP trial in Amsterdam.
And
so
also
that's
the
amazing.
trial. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So Lara, I know you all have also done some fundraising and also have funded research, especially there in Canada at the University of Alberta. And I think also at UPenn as well. So tell us a little bit about Canadian FOP Network's research grant funding.
Right. Yeah. Ours is not quite as extensive as Massimo's. That sounds awesome. But yeah, we do, we do some fundraising, and with our funds, we always every year we send an amount, as much as we can, down to UPenn traditionally. But the last few years, there's been the research right in Canada that we've been able to fund, which we've been really, really proud to participate in that. So we're splitting our research funding now to University of Alberta and UPenn.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. And tell us a little bit about fundraising. I know that's one of your priorities for this year is to really organize a fundraiser. I think in the past there was some maybe some other other fundraising activity that took place, but tell us a little bit about why that's a priority for your organization now.
Yeah, well, since COVID, everything's changed, right? And there were a number of events that were regularly bringing in funds to us, and ever since COVID, they've all stopped. So, yeah, it's on our radar. We haven't really got very far with it yet, but we're looking at finding some new ways to fundraise and keep things going. In the past, there was walks done in several different places in Canada to raise awareness and funds. So we're sort of trying to figure out a new path forward. We do have, some regular donors as well. I love the system they have in Italy. That sounds really great. We don't have that, but we can offer a tax credit to Canadians who donate to CFOPN, and which is why we became a registered charity, so that we could have that happen and then funnel the money to UPenn from there. But
oh yeah, no, that's great. So if you live in Canada and you're interested in fundraising or raising awareness,
please reach out
because they're excited to help you. And then together, it's sort of the thing, like together we can all do more. And that's so great. So you're also, Lara, I think, getting ready to host is it the third family meeting that you all have had, or maybe it's the fourth?
It's our third in-person family meeting.
Third in person.
Yeah, we had one online during sorry, during COVID years. But yeah, this will be our third in person. We're really excited to get everyone together again. It's been a long time.
That's great. And it's going to be in June. And where are you holding it?
Yeah, we're holding it in Toronto. Dr. Angela Chung, we've been working closely with her. She's becoming one of Canada's FOP experts.
Oh, yes.
And so she's helping us set up the conference, although we have other doctors coming in as well to join us.
That's great. That's great. And you all, one of the things that Canada is probably known for is a dentist. So tell us a little bit about Dr. Clive Friedman and he goes all over the world and is providing dental care and dental consult. But talk a little bit about how, about the relationship with the organization with Dr. Friedman.
Yeah, we're so grateful for Dr. Friedman. He's been an incredible resource. Yeah, so this isn't really, I wasn't involved in this because he's in Southern Ontario and I'm in
Right.
Eastern Ontario. It's a good distance away, but I believe that he was Brooke Connell's dentist, and then and some other FOPers in Southern Ontario, and so he started to gain some, familiarity with FOP and
Right.
became an expert over time. And then we helped Dr. Friedman, start working with the IFOPA as well, and
Yes.
really sharing his extensive knowledge of FOP and dentistry.
Yeah,
It's
no,
just
we know
amazing.
that like dentists always say, like what's happening in your mouth, the health of your mouth is also ultimately the health of your body. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's been such an important thing to increase awareness about the need for proper dental care and preventative
And
dental care. And
preventative, yeah.
yeah, and what to
That's what
do
I
when
love
it
about
goes
Dr.
wrong.
Freeman. Yeah.
Yeah, for
His
sure.
guidance is really, and Jackson's 16, and touch wood, we haven't had a cavity yet. We've been following all of
That's
Dr.
amazing.
Freeman's advice, and
That's
yeah.
great. That's great. Yeah, no, not, it's hard to come by dental care, and especially in FOP or rare diseases. And so it's so critical that that's one of the areas that, everyone's focused on. How do we find and train more dentists? So Massimo, I know you're just coming off of last weekend
Yeah,
was your family
he
meeting.
was
So
Clive. Yes, he
yes,
was
and
with
Clive
us.
was there. That's
Clive was with
right.
us, and with a fantastic presentation, very comprehensive, very appreciated by the audience. Then available in the second day to visit all the patients, and
Wow.
he is really so competent and so focused on FOP. He even knows a dentist in Italy from Milano.
Oh, he does. Oh,
Yeah,
good.
in the network. And this dentist, this Italian dentist, was with us in the symposium. So we
Oh,
are in
good.
touch right now. He can provide possible training to other dentists, and is also very kind, because this Italian dentist will be available for all of us
Oh,
by
that's
mail, by phone,
great.
to stay in touch. And the nice thing is that this dentist is practically also part of an association which takes care of the rare disease in general. And
Oh,
that's
that's
why
great.
he is willing to contribute to our community. So,
That's
Clive, and
great. Yes,
we are really and so open, so enthusiastic, and is doing a lot. Also, the brochure
right.
that you provided with IFOPA
Yes,
in many
yes.
languages, and he talked about surgical intervention, oral health, and the presentation was really interesting and comprehensive. So we appreciate a lot. This
Yeah, no,
contribution.
that's great. It's our
Fantastic.
theme for Awareness Day this year is Stronger Together. And I think that's like a perfect example of how we all work together and we share resources to benefit families in our country, but ultimately it benefits, families around the world. So tell us about your family meeting. It was last weekend. We know Clive was there, but you had quite a few families and researchers and companies
A few
there.
families, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. So the first part was only for with presentation from the academic world and university in Italy that we fund. Also, we had other presentation. We had two fantastic young students of the UMass talking about the development
Yes.
on genic therapies that we saw in the DDF in Sweden last year.
Yes.
And it's really, they are doing a very important job. We are happy because we want to go on in trying to give our contribution to UMass through you,
Right.
to IFOPA,
Yes.
and seeing what they are doing. And finally, with the animal models, it's really something encouraging us. And we think it's
Yes.
another of the main strategies that it was also your target. We know
Right.
it's important not to forget any possible strategy and tactics. And
Yeah.
this is the new frontier.
Right.
It's difficult, but when it works, it's really can be very effective. So, and not to forget, and to fund what we think it's interesting. This new frontier is really important. And
Yeah. No, that's
so,
great.
and then we there were pharma reference from pharma industry talking about the actual trial, the trials that they are running worldwide. And yes, so research and in the afternoon clinics, it was maybe in one day many presentation, but we tried to select the more important for us, and we want to go on this way because as you remember, in the past it was only research, but now luckily the time available for the clinics is increasing.
That's great. No, that's so good. And the Italian community has been very active in the clinical trials. And so what does it mean, to the Italian families to have the clinical trial opportunities? Like, how have you seen that impacting families to be able to get to participate at Massimo?
We think and we perceive that they are very, in general, very positive, very willing to participate. Also independent of the distance. Okay, Italy is not of the US, but moving with a flight or with the train, and we are trying to increase the number of hospitals available in order to cover north of Italy, south of Italy. But we can see that in case there's an option not too far, usually families and patients decide to go, to be so brave, let's say, and try to go to and participate to the trial. Practically, I think we have around the half of the patients enrolled in trial, a little bit less, but around 50 maybe. And in the future, the number of hospitals will increase. Not only the famous Gaslini Hospital, but some others with some other pharma industry that are running trials. So it's actually now our first target to try to have as many as possible patients participating to a trial, and having also as many center or hospital that can accept, and because it's not so easy to get the approval from the pharma. Because, and it's correct, they have to be very strict and very severe in this sense. But this is now, let's say, our main effort is to push patients
to fill the clinical trials that are available and find more hospitals or doctors.
And to talk with the different hospitals in which normally we have families, and there's a physician who knows the family, the patient, and we try to inform this physician and the head of the department in hospital about the option of having a clinical trial with so this information we try to provide at least in the main hospital in Italy, not all, but in the main one. Yes.
Right. No, that's great. Now, one of the things you talked about is how you connect with your families. You've got a website and you do a lot on social media as well and by email. So what are the main ways that you stay connected to families? But, we have the annual meeting and you might be adding a summer kind of social event, but what are some other ways that you all stay connected to the families?
For us, it is mainly let's say the social way, but also we are willing to add other in-person meetings. That's why we are thinking about a very short holiday in summer along the coast. And also, as we did, especially due to COVID time, with virtual meetings, I mean, using the usual platform like Zoom or some others, and discussing and updating the families about research and clinical trials. This is done, I think, let's say 2-3 times a year. But it's true that when we see, and after the finishing of this meeting, the in-person meeting is different story. I mean, when possible, it's really giving us much more, let's say, encouragement, and it's good. It's good. It's good.
Right.
And to finish, the very young generation, they speak, they on social. I mean, they find ways to talk about their lives,
Right.
experience. Yeah, yeah. Not in
Yeah.
in an organized way. It's not FOP Italia, but we know they
Right.
talk. They are in touch.
That's great. That's great. And Laura, you all have really been making some big strides. I mean, you've had a website, but you're, I think, updating that website, and you've got a new
Yeah, we're in the
e-newsletter you
process.
just started. And
Mhm.
Kathleen
Yeah.
Degenhardt has really done great on your social media. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the challenges for Canada is that we're such a very you know, like the US, we're large, but we have a much smaller population, so we're really spread out.
Yeah.
So it's a really real challenge to to bring the families together.
Right.
So we do rely heavily on email, social media, the website, and now, you know, Kathleen started with this. She did the first newsletter, which is really cool.
Yes.
So we're going to continue with that newsletter as well to keep people updated.
That's great.
And you know, we try and do the family in-person meetings every few years or so. It won't be a
Right.
yearly thing because it is, you know, people have to travel a really long distance to
Right.
come to these events. So
Yeah.
you know, it's not affordable for us, for the families, to do it every year. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and you mentioned when we were talking earlier is that one of the challenges for families with FOP in Canada is the shortage of family physicians. Um, so maybe talk a little bit
Yeah.
about that. And you do have some interesting programs in Canada that provide some disability support services, some, but maybe not all. So talk a little bit about what it's like for patients with FOP, families with FOP in Canada.
Yeah, that's a very serious challenge, the doctor situation in Canada. I know, you know, Jackson is 2 years away from aging out from the Children's Hospital. So they've actually, since he was 14, have been pushing us to find a family physician for when he's an adult so that they could start
Wow.
working on a transition with the doctor. I am happy to say that we have finally, after 2 years, found a doctor.
Good. That's
It
great.
took 2 years.
Crazy.
And he, the clinic itself is an absolute disaster. Like physically, he could barely get in there.
Oh my goodness.
But the doctor has heard of FOP
Oh,
and
good.
was willing to, you know, he had an open mind, you know, essential with doctors. You know, you're not going to find a doctor who knows FOP,
Right.
but
Right.
you know, you need someone who's willing to read the guidelines, and so we're hopeful that that might work out. But again, we don't know. We just
Right.
started, but
Yeah.
that's what it's like here. You know,
Mhm.
his brother has been on the Ontario has a program that tries to connect you with doctors. He's been on that for 2.5 years
Wow.
and hasn't heard anything. And we've put his name on waiting lists, and you know, it's a real nightmare. So, you know, with FOP, you really want to be shopping around for a good doctor who's willing to, you know, really
Right.
learn about FOP. And yet we're basically in the situation where we're going around begging for a doctor, like any doctor.
Wow. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so that's a real challenge for Canadians. Um,
Right.
and we do have good, it's all run provincially, the social programs. So it varies from province to province, but generally they have a lot in common in that they usually fund like around, say, 75% of adaptive devices, which is
Right.
great. But when you're buying a 35 to $40,000 electric wheelchair,
Right.
that still leaves a pretty good chunk of change that you're out of
Right.
pocket for.
Yes.
So we have some challenges there, and there's other things that there's not funding for, like, you know, wheelchair vans. There's no funding.
Right.
So Canada does have good funding compared to a lot of countries, but we
Right.
could still do better. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's a great use of, we're thrilled that the Life Award program that the IFOPA offers, we're able to fill in. It's not a lot of money. It's 1,800 US dollars, but it does help fill the gaps for some people when they're looking for that equipment. I mean, we've sent out life awards all over the world to try and help fill that gap. So that's a great way that we like work together as organizations. And I know for some families in Italy, that's also been important as well. So Massimo, talk a little bit about what it's like, you know, in Italy. We know that there's quite a few hospitals that have people that are interested in FOP, especially you all have helped gain that interest, and there's a good deal of trial activity. But what is, you know, life like, and what programs are available to families with FOP in Italy?
We have a similar award, the Life Award that you planned. We decided 5 years ago to do a similar one.
Right.
And we recently decided to go on even for the next year. So we will inform all the patients and the members that each one, after a kind of evaluation that we will do about the specific tool they like to get from us with our sponsorship. And the amount will be again 2,500 euro. In the past, it was used for informatic device or house adaptation, something similar. So we appreciated your design, your idea with the Life Award.
Great.
And we did a similar one, but also inform the members and the community that you have it's available, as you say, for the countries outside the US. So there's also this option of the Life Award that you provide. And this is, yes, one specific tool. Luckily, in a way, I was hearing from Lara story about the wheelchair, for example. In terms of wheelchairs, electric wheelchairs, which are very, very expensive, we are lucky in Italy because the national health system provides any kind of wheelchair with specific difficult adaptation. I saw, for instance, Paolo, our young boy, Paolo, with a fantastic wheelchair with camera, with different options. And since FOP is classified in Italy as a rare disease in a short list, because rare diseases, unfortunately, are so many, but has been authorized and classified, all the patients can benefit of this support for in case of wheelchair, in case of possible treatment drugs, they will be free of charge for them, which is very important. When we talk about house adaptation, normally we provide ourselves, but then we get a fiscal benefit. I mean, what we pay, we can get back an amount which could be 30–40% of benefits in the fiscal declaration. So it's a way to promote this house adaptation. But it's not true for everything. So that's why we went on with this kind of Life Award, because for, I don't know, a specific computer, mouse, or I don't know, specific tools like you provide in the Ability Toolbox, we like to support, and the cost is not so high, but indeed we try to support the family this way. For the rest, the main support is through constant connection by phone, by mail, especially for the new members. We had quite a few in the last 3–4 years, many very young child, and that's which is quite bad in a way, because they are so young. And so for the families to know about FOP, to know about to the meeting, that we put in touch with the Gaslini Hospital. I mean, we are a way in which we can specifically train them through a meeting. We move to the family, and then when they go typically to the Gaslini Hospital, they get all the information from a skilled physician. In this way, we try to give the correct information, and we put them in touch with the right doctors and physicians. This we do.
No,
So,
that's great. Yeah,
yeah.
that's great. Now, you mentioned, of course, that FOP is a rare disease also in Italy. You all do some work with both the Italian Rare Disease Association and the European uh, disorders, Eurordis is what they're called.
Yeah.
So tell us what it's meant to be a part of those organizations. How has that helped you all?
It's important because they specifically do a kind of activity which is, we could say, a lobby activity, and they are in touch with the government in Rome, in Italy, in Brussels, concerning the European community. So practically they push a lot, and their work is trying to promote financial support to be given to these so many rare disease, and political activity with new regulation laws to promote, to make the life of these patients easier. So it's something that we couldn't do alone ourselves for the other disease, but they can do. Also, they plan and design the daily, the yearly day of public awareness on rare disease, which is in February. So it's a way in which, from a political point of view, awareness toward the main governments and entities that take care of the social life and the sanitary side of the life. So it's yeah, they do on behalf of the so many rare disease association.
Right.
This is the main way. So practically we are members, but it's difficult to stay in touch. We know what they are doing through publication, mails, and maybe once in a year we participate to a meeting, which is quite far, maybe in Rome or. But yeah,
that's great.
In terms of very specific of awareness, support of the families, new treatment, the research part and the clinical trial side, it has to be done by us. I mean, they don't help us in this way.
Yeah, not the specific.
Not specific. Yeah, not specifically.
Yes.
It's really our job. Yeah.
Right. No, that's great. Well, you're doing such a great job at it. And then, Laura, you all participate with CORD, the Canadian Organization of Rare Disorders. I think you've even had people go and speak at their meetings. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, yes, we have CORD, very similar organization. It sounds like they're really strong advocates with the policymakers in Canada. Carrie, the past president, and Karen, our current president, and myself have participated in quite a few CORD conferences, also in some online discussion webinars where they're sometimes involving government organizations and sometimes just the rare disease communities, but just really their CORD is really pushing hard for change in Canada, because we don't actually have a specific rare disease policy in Canada.
Oh, wow.
And coverage for rare disease drugs is challenging. To put it mildly. Yeah, so CORD has been a really great advocate for these changes, and we work with them. Yeah, there was quite a bit of excitement when palovarotene was getting approved. They were really reaching out for Carrie to join in a lot of those discussions.
Right. Yeah. But I think now we're in a situation where it's difficult. The government doesn't necessarily want to pay for it. And so this is, I think, what you're referring to is that they don't give access to the drugs necessarily. And so you really do need an advocate in your corner like CORD to try and change that policy.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of hoops to get through.
Yeah. Well, in those big organizations, it's like here, we don't have a public policy person on staff at the IFOPA. We work with NORD, the National Organization for Rare Disorders in the US, or the Every Life Foundation. And when there are alerts or topics where patients and families should speak up, then they alert us to that. And then we tell families, so they really do keep an eye on those things for us to help us know when is the time to speak and what do we need to say. So I think that's really important. So yeah. Well, as we wrap up our conversation today, I think, Laura, the final question I would ask you is, what's a message that, the Canadian families or the Canadian FOP Network would share with the global community on FOP Awareness Day?
Right. We're big fans of the Stronger Together message. That's really great. Yeah, I mean, the FOP community worldwide is quite small in the grand scheme of things, and yet we have so many wonderful organizations and such great communication between everyone, and that's let's keep that up, keep that going. Amen. Keep developing and sharing information and supporting each other. It's a wonderful community.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Masso, how about from Italy?
Yeah, I like very much what Lara said. Practically, we are we have the same message, because we think that in a way it's true that we are so rare, but also, as we see, because we live in the FOP community, we are also so strong, so motivated, and not alone. So the message is for each one, also for the new ones coming in the FOP community, that they have to think that they are not alone. We are a very strong group, an international group, and we are doing a lot. We will go on this way. The real strategy is practically the same as Lara said. We need to go on keeping in touch and trying to communicate as much as possible through the ways. And not forgetting the important ways that IFOPA provides, because virtual meeting, website, I mean, it's important. The group that you have designed of young patient caregivers. I mean, it's important.
The support groups, yes.
Yeah. It's important. It's important to. It's not always possible to have a physical meeting, I mean, in-person meeting, but we have now so many ways to stay in touch through internet and all the ways, and because together we are stronger, and so the message is yes, not to discourage, but to be positive and go on in sharing experience and sharing updates. Together we are stronger. Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you for spending time with me today, but with also people all around the world that are watching this, both families as well as researchers, as well as clinicians, doctors who are watching this. So thank you for spending time with us. And thank you for what you're doing in Canada and Italy, because it seeps out and goes global. And we're just glad to that we can all be in this fight together. So thanks for all you're doing and for spending time with me today.
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks for everything IFOPA does.
Yes. Oh, you're welcome.